Hey, you beautiful twin flames, and welcome to Fantastic Fridays, where I answer your questions and we also do a concept video. And today, the concept video is going to be all about connecting with your counterpart in what most people would call the 5D. Okay, so I find this interesting how people call it the 5D or the fifth dimension. I don't really like to use dimensions as much as I like to use the word consciousness. The reason I can't hear myself is because I've got both earphones in. That's funny. Donkey's having a good laugh at me. And let me just quickly say, if you haven't got a cuppa yet, I want you to pause the video and get yourself one. It's a little bit warm for me, but that's okay. It'll cool down as we get into this video. All right, so I don't really like to talk about dimensions because I think that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother video. And so I do know that in the twin flame community, people sort of use 3D as in, in the 3D reality, and then 5D meaning, when they connect in the ethereal realm. And so I kind of want to call it the ethereal realm for me, because it's kind of an energetic place. That's how I want to describe it. So if you go into a meditation, if you've never done a meditation before, go and do one. Just try, a guided meditation on YouTube that kind of, one of those ones that say, relax your body, get into the feeling of, you breathe deeply into your belly, all of that kind of thing. And as you relax into meditation, then you're kind of in that place where you can receive. All right, so I would say that connecting with the counterpart in the ethereal realm, I'm going to call it the ethereal, is very much something that we do more easily when we're in fifth dimensional consciousness. So I'm going to write these down so that you have an understanding. Okay, so I don't want you to think that you're in another dimension. I want you to understand that your consciousness can change and shift. All right. So before you #woke up, you would have been living mostly in the third dimensional consciousness. Some of you may still be there. I'm trying to spell it all right because consciousness is a big word, even for me. So we have the idea of third dimensional consciousness and fifth dimensional consciousness. And of course, as we vibrate higher, we can have a higher consciousness of an understanding of who we are. And you'll know when you're in those higher vibrational spaces because it will feel kind of like bliss or joy or happiness, motivation. All of those higher emotions will be experienced in fifth dimensional consciousness and above. Okay, in third dimensional consciousness, we have feelings of loneliness, sadness, regret, judgment, all of those lower vibrational feelings will come to us, and that's how we know that we're in a lower vibration. Okay, so however you're feeling will tell you what consciousness you're in. So you can go to a higher consciousness and come back to a lower consciousness. And many times, if we've awoken and come into that bliss, if you've ever spent time with your twin flame and you've felt that beautiful bliss, then you'll know that if you go through a dark night of the soul and fall from a higher consciousness back down again, that's what I would describe as being a dark night of the soul. Okay, so that's my take on it. It may not resonate for all of you. Some people literally think they're in a whole nother dimension and all of that stuff, and that's fine. But like I say, that's a whole nother video and it's not for today. So how do you connect with your counterpart? It's all about you, more than it is about them. As you awaken more deeply and as you raise your vibration, your twin flame frequency, I always like to say, is very similar to a radio station. You might say that, you know, they're on 92.3 FM and your soul also is on that same frequency, 92.3 FM. And it's a lot easier to tune into that radio station as you vibrate at a higher level of consciousness. And so that means that you need to work on yourself. That means you need to really go deep and look at yourself with a microscope or a magnifying glass, and not literally, I'm talking figuratively. And as you do that, you will shed some of the things that no longer serve you. So you'll find over time that you'll be shedding people, places and situations that no longer serve you, and you'll also be coming into a state of being able to feel joyful from within. And that's why I made my ascension package for people who really want to experience the twin flame journey at a higher level of consciousness, because as we vibrate higher, we can also help our twin do the same. Because what we do for ourselves, we do for our twin. We are the same soul. Okay, so I would say this question about connecting with the counterpart as a concept is kind of like meditation. But instead of feeling into the meditation, you would close your eyes and, you know, take those deep breaths and relax and feel into your twin flame counterpart. More than just thinking about them though, I would make sure that I was getting into my heart space. So the first thing you need to do is clear your energy from the inside. This is easier said than done. Sometimes we have blocks within us that need to be released, and this is where the ascension becomes really important, because if we have blocks in the chakra system, which is the energy center of us, it becomes quite difficult to tap into our counterpart. And so if we could do a meditation to relax, if we could maybe, you know, talk to someone who's an energy healer and learn how to get our energy flowing from the inside and clear from the inside, then it becomes much easier to tap into our twin flame while we're in that relaxed state, while we're in that fifth dimensional consciousness and above. Just for reference, I always like to say that, you know, Jesus was supposed to be at an eighth dimensional consciousness state. So I guess you could say some of the other spiritualists or masters would have been quite high up as well. You know, if you look at Gandhi or other people, you know, perhaps even people like Nelson Mandela, who just seem to be on a different plane of existence in terms of their consciousness. You know what I mean? So the most important thing when connecting with your twin flame is connecting with inside of yourself. I have two guided, they're not guided meditations, but they're kind of music meditations that connect you straight into your heart space. So if you want to purchase those, they kind of immediately, through music, through the frequency of music, kind of snap you in straight into your twin flame. And they're very, very good actually at connecting you into union. I'm not talking about the be all and end all kind of union, but in union as in, you can listen to those meditations and you'll find that your twin flame sort of starts coming in like a magnet, and you'll be like, hang on a minute, I only just listened to that music, you know what I mean? So it's kind of magical how it works, because as you get into your heart space, which is a big key here, then you're automatically at a higher level of consciousness, which is really beautiful. So I want to move on now to talking about some of the questions that some of you sent in for Fantastic Friday. Thank you so much for doing that. And the first one's a bit tricky. So I'm going to leave that one till last. All right. Now, when the masculine opens his heart space, will he pick up on my energy or emotions in the 3D and feel like the feminine in 5D? Okay, so again, we're using these terms 3D and 5D, meaning the 3D physical reality and the 5D, which I would call the ethereal. So I don't want to get these confused. So I'm going to say ethereal, meaning connecting energetically instead. So I'll say that question again. When the masculine opens his heart space, will he pick up on my energy emotions in the third dimensional reality and feel me, or feel the feminine, in the ethereal realm, which I like to call it the ethereal realm? Okay. So, a masculine can be in his heart space and then go out of his heart space, and then be in his heart space and go out of his heart space, just like a feminine can. So you'll know yourself as a feminine that sometimes you might feel angry or afraid or lonely or even pissed off. That's a nice one, that sometimes divine feminine gets pissed off. All right. And so what happens is, as soon as you go out of your heart space, you'll probably notice that it's hard to get into that feeling of feeling them in the ethereal realm anyway. It's usually twin flames meet one another in the first instance when they are kind of awakening and starting to feel those blissful feelings. Perhaps they're, upping their prayer or upping their spirituality, through Reiki or some kind of energy healing, or through learning about twin flames, or something kind of triggers it. There could be a lot of things that trigger it. So the divine masculine, yes, when his heart space is open, he can feel things, but if he's not spiritual, he may not understand what's going on. So he may get experiences of bliss and he doesn't know where that's coming from. He may get experiences of, having an erection, let's say, and not realizing that that's actually your energy that's kind of pulling him in. Okay, so it'll kind of be in sort of feelings for him where he'll feel like, maybe he's at work and he looks around and he kind of feels like you're there with him, and then he'll kind of brush it off as, oh, that's a bit weird. So it does definitely happen. And you may even have your counterpart saying, gee, the other day, like if you're on talking terms with them and not in separation, they might even say something like, gee, the other day I was having a really difficult time and it kind of felt like you were with me. I kind of felt like you were there with me. Or like I knew what to say because you were supportive that last time or something. So it's kind of like they feel, in a way, a little bit more powerful knowing that your energy is around them, but they sort of don't know what's going on. Because women tend to be more in their feeling space, more in their emotions more often, they can sometimes more easily connect into the ethereal realm. and feel them energetically. Like even right now, if you close your eyes just for a moment, let's just do it as a little exercise, and we can just take 3 deep breaths right in from the bottom of the belly and out through the heart chakra. Okay, everyone ready? We're going to do that together. One more. Now keep your eyes closed and just think of your divine masculine for a moment. Just picture them. You might feel a sensation around you. You might feel them behind you. You might even feel like they're standing next to you. Or you might even see, you might even see them trying to speak with you. Okay, so there are 3 different types of clairs here. You can be clairaudient, which is hearing, clairvoyant, which is seeing, and clairsentient, which is feeling. So as we feel them in this ethereal space, we are really kind of opening up the clairs, opening up the psychic ability within us. And of course, this happens from the 3rd eye and the crown chakra, but it kind of starts from the heart chakra and moves up. So it's a very interesting to do that. But if your chakras are blocked off energetically, it's going to be difficult. All right, so I hope that answers that question for you there. I've got to go back to that other difficult question at the end. All right, so the next one is, how do you balance it out, both energies, masculine and feminine? And then the second part of the question is, how do you not be afraid if a man approaches you? So there's some great questions there, and I'm going to start with the first one. How do you balance it out, both energies, masculine and feminine? Well, this is highly interesting. If you're new to the twin flame journey, the first concept that you might hear, or maybe not straight away, but is that we all have masculine and feminine within us. So we all have the qualities of both within us. And if you're a divine feminine, you'll probably show the divine feminine qualities more often, and you'll probably do the opposite if you're a divine masculine. So balancing it out is is kind of really part of the ascension process, where you're moving from that 3rd dimensional consciousness into 5th dimensional consciousness, where you're going to experience those higher emotions. It's really all about ascension. And as you come into knowing who you are on your ascension path, it becomes quite easy to begin realizing when you are being more masculine and when you are being more feminine. Because the thing is with the masculine is I don't really like the whole runner and chaser scenario thing, but it does happen in the twin flame journey. But I'll just give you a little example of this. Okay, so if you're the feminine energy, 9 times out of 10, you'll kind of be chasing the masculine energy because you're coming from your heart-centered space. Okay, so the feminine energy really comes from the heart center. She feels everything, and because she feels love for the divine masculine, her immediate reaction is, oh, I've found love, I want to keep it, I want to chase it down, I want to be with it. Just like, you know, if you saw a puppy, a really cute puppy in the pet store, you know, you might not go home and think about it, you might just buy it, or, you know, take it home from the local, you know, rescue shelter or something, because it's just so cute. And so divine feminine kind of gets in that mode. And so that is a kind of natural phenomenon that happens with twin flames is that the feminine energy really wants to chase, because she so desperately wants love. So she's not really, she thinks she's chasing the masculine, but she really is chasing love. Okay. So then 9 times out of 10, the divine masculine is called the runner, because even though in the bliss stages he kind of realizes the love, and he feels it too, and his whole body resonates with it, and his whole everything resonates with it, but then he goes, well, hang on a minute, I'm actually masculine and I don't like to feel things because feeling things feels weird. All right. And so he's coming from that root chakra kind of place where he likes to feel really grounded, really stable, and emotions are something that feels new to him. And so because he doesn't understand this, he kind of moves away. So what happens here is we have this, it's really a paradox, because the divine feminine, as she chases the divine masculine down, he of course keeps running. She's chasing love and he doesn't know what to do with love, and so he runs. Okay, but it's a bit more in depth about that, and if you want my manifesting twin flame video to help you more, it'll really help you. So let me know if you do. But the interesting part of it is that you're asking in this question, how do you balance the energies out? Well, if you're chasing as the feminine and your divine masculine's running, that's a really unbalanced place to be, because you are really quite paradoxically in your masculine energy, because the masculine is supposed to chase and the feminine is supposed to sit and wait to be chased. If we go back to the old paradigm in the third dimensional reality, all the way back to the caveman era, where men used to go out and hunt and do all of those really interesting things, the women used to sit, back at the campsite. Maybe they were gathering a few things up to cook with, or doing the fires or whatever they were doing, but the man would go out and hunt, and then he would bring himself back to the feminine. And so it's really interesting that this paradox occurs where the woman or the feminine chases and the man runs, because if anything's chasing you, you're going to run, generally speaking. It doesn't matter what it is. You could be, if you're at the shopping center and someone started chasing you, you would start running or you'd at least roll your eyes and go, what the hell is going on, right? So that's kind of what happens with divine masculine. And of course the divine feminine's running after love, because she's lacking, I don't want to say lacking, but she's feeling like she needs that love. Okay, and then so when it's balanced, when you aren't trying to chase. So this is how you know. If you're not trying to chase your masculine down, and you're not being low vibrational in any way, you're not being judgmental of your divine masculine, you're not being nasty to him, you're not being angry at him, you're not doing any of the lower emotions, you're not jealous of him, you're not stalking him. Don't stalk him. Right? That's how you know you're balanced. And when you come into that receiving energy for the feminine, it actually feels kind of nice, because you'll find that your divine masculine, 9 times out of 10, as you kind of turn around and stop doing the chasing, which does occur in the first part of the twin flame journey, you'll find that he actually comes to you, which is the natural state of feminine and masculine energies, because the feminine needs to sit and receive, just like the vagina receives the penis, right? It's It's just the way it is. It's hard to explain, but it's just that she's supposed to sit and wait, and not just sit and think about him, but sit and do her own thing, like sit and know that it's coming. The best thing to do is just to know that it's coming. And when you can sit and know that it's coming and be in a loving, gentle heart space, then you know that you're balanced. So you can still go and create and do your own business or look after your children or whatever you're doing in your life. You can still work on those things. But when your divine masculine comes in, no matter how he comes in, you will receive him with unconditional love. And I guess that's how you know that you're balanced. Now, the next part of the question is, how do you not be afraid if a man approaches you? I guess with this question here, I would like to know, what you're afraid of. Are you shy? Perhaps that's what I'm, getting intuitively, is that you're shy. But I guess the best thing to do would be to go out, even in a friend scenario with your girlfriends or something like that, and just get used to talking to people. Or perhaps, depending on where you live and what's open and what's not, but you could go to the gym or the local coffee shop and just practice talking to other people and see what that feels like. Okay, so, even when you go to the grocery store and you're talking to the cashier at the counter, that's kind of practice. I guess it's a self-esteem thing, a self-confidence thing. You may want to even look in the mirror and have a conversation with yourself. Or if you've got an iPhone, or a computer, you can kind of have a conversation with yourself. I remember when I first started doing YouTube videos and I was looking at myself talking and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. It's too hard. Because I'm literally, you're listening to me right now, but as I'm sitting here, I'm actually having a conversation with myself, which is kind of weird if you think about it like that. So looking in the mirror and getting comfortable with who you are is a really good exercise. If my name was Betty, I might look in the mirror and say, hi Betty, how are you today? Are you having a good day? And then you could say, yes, I am, and see if you can just get comfortable with that. Another thing you can do is practice doing that with other people. So, walking up to someone and just asking them, a stranger, no one to, someone that you feel comfortable with, not someone wearing a hoodie and holding a knife, but, a stranger, a nice stranger that looks nice, and just saying, oh, would you know what the time is right now? Just getting the confidence to just ask a question. Okay, and so then when a man approaches you, you can have the confidence to answer them, because they've also got to get the confidence up to ask you the question too. They might be coming up to you and saying, hey pretty lady, do you know what the time is? And you'll be like, oh, actually, let me just buy a watch so I can tell you, right? So get into having a little practice, even with your girlfriend, or a cousin or someone, let's just practice having a conversation with someone. And then as you get better and better at doing it in the mirror and doing it with someone you feel and trust and know, then you can actually go and stalk people in the park. Of course, I'm joking, but find nice people to do it with, in public places where you don't feel kind of weird. So see how that goes. Alrighty, so we're going to move on to the hard question now. This is the hard one. We've got too many intelligent twin flames on my channel, I tell you. Okay, so the question is, does the soul come into union first, or no, union is near before physical union? So I'm going to break that up into two parts. Does the soul come into union first, or no, union is near before physical union? All right, so many of you have already experienced the bubble love phase, and that is the soul recognition stage, the recognition of the soul. You know, you might be texting them, you might be online with them, and your soul goes, wow, I feel like I've known this person forever. And that's the recognition stage, where you both might even say, you know, gee, I've never connected with anyone like this before. I feel, you know, you might even be blabbering and tell them things that you never tell anyone, and you've known them for like a day or two, you know. So that's not union, that's soul recognition. But coming into union is kind of like, it depends if you're at a distance or not, but sometimes the union, you know, the union can occur in the ethereal, where you can have the sexual energy or the merging of twins, which occurs. And that is, if that happens to you, you will know. You know, it kind of, I guess you could describe it, many twin flames describe it as though they are having sex or making love. Making love is a better way to describe it. But their whole chakra system lights up. They feel like they're in a bliss state. And this is, you know, when the souls literally come into union. And you can be at a distance when this happens, or it can happen when you merge in physical reality, depending on your circumstances. So that's what I would call the union, the merging there. And the Kundalini rising occurs here, and it triggers a whole lot of things when that happens. It can trigger a dark night of the soul. It can trigger more of an awakening. It can get you to shed all this stuff that you know, all this baggage that you never knew you had. You know, many twin flames kind of, you know, have this union in the ethereal, okay? And then all these problems start occurring for both twins, you know. Maybe one realizes that they're in a bad marriage and they want to leave it, or the other one says, wow, gee, my family are really pissing me off right now and I just can't stand to be with them anymore. Or you change jobs, or you change this, you know, or you, I don't know, you might even start going through your cupboards at home and wanting to throw things away. You know, it's like this shedding occurs, like a, you know, like of a snake skin, kind of like that. You just kind of want to get rid of everything that doesn't serve you anymore. And that can start happening. It's kind of like nesting for mothers, you know, that are going to have a baby before physical union occurs, I guess you could say. So the second part of the question we've answered, does the soul come into union first, or no, union is near before physical union? So yes, you know, you can come into that Kundalini union, the merging of souls, before you actually even meet in the physical reality. Or it can happen physically when you merge. Or the second part was, or know that union is near before physical union. Okay, so usually a whole heap of weird stuff happens before physical union. So, you know, more awakening will happen, more epiphanies start happening, you know, seeing angel numbers, perhaps people call them angel numbers, like 1111 and 444, 111, all of that stuff. Also other signs that people often see, like birds, you know, seeing a twin flame's name on billboards or signs and things like that. And even having an experience with a false twin flame will occur usually right before physical union does as well. That can also happen, but it's different for each set of twin flames, so I don't want to set any of that in stone. But I do just want to say, you know, as a little reminder, that I think we should start thinking of the third dimension and the fifth dimension as consciousness places, not as actual places where you're going to go. All right. So as the whole planet awakens, it's a consciousness shift. It's a shift in the consciousness of human beings over time. And at the moment, many are calling it the age of Aquarius. Okay. Which is kind of a cool song from the movie Hair, which was made in the 60s around the time of Woodstock. The musical is called Hair, and the words are, "This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, the age of Aquarius, when the moon is in the second house and Jupiter aligns with Mars," and so on. You can look that song up. It'll be kind of groovy if you like that kind of thing. All right, so I think I've answered all of the questions for today, for this week. I'm going to continue with Fantastic Fridays. I'm going to do a concept within that, and then I'm also going to discuss any questions that any of you have. And I just want you to know that there are never too many questions. If I don't get to the questions that you ask for that week, I'll try and, move on and add them to the next week. Because I don't want to, make my videos too long where people are having to spend too much time. But I do think that these concepts and these questions are very important, because obviously if you're asking them, they mean something to you, and they're part of that twin flame journey, which is you experiencing coming back into union with yourself first and foremost, and then into union with your beautiful twin flame. All right, so I'm wishing you a beautiful day, night, afternoon, evening, or morning, wherever you are in the world. If you need me, reach out. Okay. I'm sending you love and peace from Australia, and I want you to follow your joy. No matter what you do, follow your joy. Not the woman called Joy that you know. Don't start stalking her, because she'll know. All right. And I'll see you real soon with a new video. Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye.